Good evening, everybody. Luke here from Ought to Know Better. I'm joined with Adam, the Leeds fan. How are you doing, Adam? All right, mate?
All right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, looking forward to this one, to be fair.
I'm buzzing.
Yeah,
I am buzzing for this one.
We've just been talking about a champ manager and Simon, and now we sort of maybe the next big thing. And you very kindly decided to get the old champ manager out, didn't you?
Mate, I don't need an excuse to get the old champ manager.
We'll keep that under wraps. We'll let you tell Simon about that in a short while anyway. But yeah, really excited about this. He seems a really nice, down-to-earth, genuine fella. So yeah, what do you think? Should we get him on?
Absolutely, mate. I'm buzzing. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Hi.
How are you, bud? You all right?
Evening, Simon. How you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, not too bad at all. Struggling with the diet a bit, starving, bit grumpy, but other than that, yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. This is Adam as well. Adam's part of the Ought to Know Better podcast, so he's kindly joined me. He's a little bit older than me, so he probably remembers a little bit more about your time at Leeds. So
no, keep plugging through that diet thing, mate. Honestly, the first 2-3 weeks are a nightmare, but you all of a sudden get acclimatised to it. So I urge you to keep on.
Yeah, it's only day 4. I'm sure I'll be all right. I like your top there. Is that part of the academy?
Yeah, that's right. I'm always wearing it. I never take it off, to be fair. But just got to keep plugging it as much as I can, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And that's based back over West Bromway, isn't it? Is it
Oldbury?
Oldbury, yeah. And how's that going?
Do you know what? It's probably building quicker than I would have liked, but the enjoyment I get out of it's like I'm playing football again. I get the same buzz from it. So, to be honest, I'm loving every bit of it. It's just a nightmare at the moment not being able to bloody go in and coach them, you know.
That's it, yeah. So what are you doing? Are you doing sort of online lessons or something?
To be honest, there's quite a few of them that are struggling mentally, which is to be expected. So I've sort of eased the pressure off them a little bit where the practical side of the program's concerned. I'm just looking out for the well-being. That's more important to me at the moment.
Yeah, great to hear, mate. Great to hear. So I think Adam's got a little bit of a surprise for you before we sort of started moving onto the main pod. He just wants to throw something at you, and he's dying to do it. So I'll let him sort of jump on.
No problem.
Right. So I'm a massive football geek, as it were, and I've been playing silly games all my life, like Champ Manager and all that. So I actually still have Champ Manager 0102 on my laptop, and you're an 18-year-old kid on this. So yeah. I wanted to ask you. I want to give you some attributes, mate, and see out of 20 what you'd rate yourself at this. Now,
right.
I'm also doing for this pod. I'm potentially going to have another surprise for you at the end of it. So the first one, Simon Johnson, aged 18, out of 20. What do you reckon your pace was?
We're obviously going back then, aren't we?
We're going back to when you were 18. 18-year-old Si Johnson. What are we going
pace? Is it pace?
Yeah.
I'll probably go 17.
All right. Finishing.
15.
Technique.
19.
19, yeah? All right. Teamwork.
I'm going to elaborate. Do you know what? I'm going to elaborate on this. Probably is a bit late, so I don't know. Teamwork, I'm going to say 20, and there's a reason behind that.
I can't wait to hear this reason, mate, honestly. Right, and then final one, heading.
Oof. 8. That's being very generous as well.
These are your starting stats. So what Adam's actually done, he's set the game to actually just run in the background while we're doing the pod. And hopefully we'll get a few years through. So you might be 25, 26 by the time we've finished. and we'll actually see where you are and where you're playing then, or where you should have been playing instead of Hales Owen or Solihull Motors or whatever it was. So yeah, no, it should be something. Should be a bit of fun anyway.
Decent, that.
Spoken a little bit about the academy. Just going back to that, you obviously joined Leeds as a young kid. Moved up from West Brom. Big step to make. How did it feel natural at the time? Was it something that you felt you had to do, or was it something that you wanted to do? Are you just before you answer that? Are you a Leeds fan?
I'm a West Brom fan. That's what I was brought up. I used to go to the West Brom games, etc. But obviously, when you have that experience, what I had with Leeds, you can't help but just fall in love with the club, and that's where I'm at the moment. I love West Brom because that's all I've ever known, and I love Leeds because they give me my dream. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
So on the academy thing and that, did it feel almost natural and just an opportunity too good to pass up, or was it something that you sort of felt that you had to do?
Do you know what? It's it was a weird one because although I was really young, I never ever looked at it as if to say, oh, this is a massive move I'm making here. I just sort of went with the flow, and I think I used to go up in the school holidays, and there was a couple of Welsh boys that had already moved up at this point. And when I used to go up there in the school holidays, we used to get on really well. And I weren't envious that they'd moved away, but I liked the idea of it. And so when they presented me with that same opportunity, I sort of jumped straight at it. I don't think anything different, to be honest.
Yeah. Did your parents help you make the decision, or was it just something you just said, I'm doing it? Were you 13, 14 when you moved up to Leeds?
14, just nearly 15, yeah. So
yeah.
I think if I'm going to be totally honest, I think my parents was keen on it because they was travelling up to Leeds with me 3 times a week. And look, I've got one kid now, and it's a nightmare.
You're not kidding.
My parents have got 7 kids, so how they managed to fit taking me up to Leeds 3 times a week, I'll never know.
Yeah, made some real sacrifices then for you.
Yeah. So I think they was pretty keen on the idea. It enable them to give a bit more time to the other lot.
Yeah.
And I was all for it anyway. There was never one moment where I thought, I don't know about this. The only thing I was just going to miss my mates more than anything.
Yeah. Did you soon start to sort of fit in though? You say you miss your mates. There's missing you. I mean, I live away from home now, what I consider home, and I've got mates down here, but they'll never be your real mates. Do you know what I mean? That you can just sort of knock and walk in the door. Did you adapt quite quickly? Were you sort of part of the? Did you find that you became part of the clique, if you like, quite quickly, and you started making mates quite quick?
Yeah, like I said, because I used to go up in the school holidays, I knew pretty much all the boys. I knew all the scholars at the time because that's who we trained with. So it was quite easy in that sense. Yeah. So yeah, it weren't too much of anything for me.
So who was in that? So did anybody? So when you went up there at 14, so sort of when you sort of started making inroads into suppose the reserves and I suppose what would be the under 18s, who sort of came with you through that? Is there anybody that sort of followed your trajectory at the same time, or?
The ones that was my age would be Fraser Richardson. Do you remember Fraser?
Yeah.
Jamie McMaster was another one. Kilgallen was a year younger, so it was that sort of group. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else that flirted with the first team there.
Was Milner a similar age to you? Or was he a bit older?
Milner's
a bit younger. Sorry.
I wish you was. Oh, okay, there we go. No, yeah, Milner was about 3 years younger, I think, but he made huge strides very quickly. So I think he was still a schoolboy when he started training with us. Yeah. So it was that sort of group. But Milner was just ridiculous when he started joining in. Like we all knew. all knew pretty much straight away.
Yeah. With that, I mean, with that in mind, would you say that Milner was probably the most naturally gifted person that you played, or with around at the same time? So just speaking of the younger lot, I'm not talking about when you were flirting with the first team and that, but when you were a kid, was he sort of the standout kid around there then?
No. In my opinion, I think Lennon was head and shoulders above everyone.
Right.
Milner was just a workaholic. Like, he would always be the first one in. You've probably heard people say this before, and by the time I was on my way home, showered up, and that, Milner's still on the training pitch, and he was like that every single day. So for me, it's no coincidence he's still playing at the top level. You know, that's what he's worked for. So.
Yeah, and in terms of your time sort of with Leeds, I know you made your debut. Was it under Reed at Charlton?
Yeah,
is that right?
That's right.
So you had quite a few managers in your time there. Started with was O'Leary in charge when you first moved up? Is that right? Round about then, or when you went to the reserves?
George Graham.
Right. Okay, so it was Graham. So you had
was O'Leary was after George Graham, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tell Venables, wasn't it? After
that's
that,
right, yeah.
And then Reed,
Peter
Gray,
Reed. I think Eddie Gray then.
And then Blackwell, yeah. Your mate Blackwell, wasn't he?
Our best buddy, yeah. Best buddy.
I've been meaning to ask you. I listened to the Under the Cosh the other week, and you obviously don't speak. But I mean, you don't speak badly of him. I don't think that's probably unfair. But there's obviously clearly a dislike for it. Was that reciprocated? But did he dislike you as much as you disliked him, or is that how it started?
Well, I think I don't know if I mentioned it on Under the Cosh, but I've heard like years later that I never knew, but Kevin Blackwell was part of the Sheffield United team when we used to play them in the academy. Right. And look, we had a decent team for our age group. We had quite a lot of internationals in our setup, and so we used to give some teams a good hiding, like. And look, when you're that age and you're winning games and you're progressing, sometimes you step out of line, and maybe as we did when we played Sheffield, but it was sort of a local derby for us. So, you know, it sort of is what exactly.
You can't get cocky about beating them then.
Well, there we go. So it is what it is, but he didn't like that, I don't think. And as soon as he got to Leeds, he remembered exactly who we were. There was me, Jamie, that he took a real disliking to. So, I mean, my first interaction with him wasn't great. And I think that just set the tone for the rest of our working relationship, really.
Yeah. And so you played. Reed actually gave you your debut, but you're obviously around in the O'Leary Champions League days and Venables and stuff. What were they like to be managed? I mean, you probably didn't have all that much to do, because I don't think you weren't playing for the first team. You were still only 16, 17-year-old when they were about. But what were they sort of like around the club? Were they decent leaders? Were they sort of rude? Were they, you know, us as fans, we don't really get much of an insight to that, do we, Adam?
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, to be fair, the majority of them were top class. You obviously have ones that will mingle with the younger lads more than others. That's anywhere you go.
Yeah.
But the majority of them was brilliant with us, and I think they knew that, like, we was just all in awe, because like, it's not every day you get to be watching semi-finalists of the Champions League track. Do you know what I mean? It was just it was all. I think that time was all a bit surreal for everybody. But the senior pros was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and you had the likes of probably the young ones like Woodgate and people like that really tried to help you and give you great advice. You know.
Was there anybody within that senior team then that you would say wasn't as helpful?
Was a dickhead, basically, Adam. Say it out loud, we can swear on it, you know, we're all adults.
Basically, who's the biggest knobhead in dressing room?
Yeah.
I've got my ideas, but...
I have as well, probably from that era.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, like you say, I didn't have I did start training with them when I was quite young, but I didn't have like loads of interaction with them. But Danny Mills weren't great. He was,
Yes. That's why
I
he works for
mean,
TalkSport now.
yeah, there we go. But he just, I suppose it was even more magnified because the other lads were so good with us. Do you know what I mean? I'm being diplomatic here, and he was a prat.
You can be honest, mate. It's an adult podcast. You can swear. We've got the explicit sign on them, so you can say what you want. Was there any in particular that stood out on the opposite side that really went out of their way? True professionals that would support you and really help you out.
My favourite one for that was Dubry. But I think that's because of the way he was with me. I can't recall him being like it with everyone. He was good with all the young lads.
Yeah.
But and it was only little snippets of advice that he was giving me. But it really helped. I mean, even just the first time I ever trained with the first team, Dubry was marking me, and he was telling me what I should be doing. Do you know? Even though he was marking me, so. Yeah. Little things like that really stuck with me. So yeah, I've got a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, Luke and I, before you came on, we were talking about Dubry, and I think it's really refreshing that you say that, because I think he gets the shitty end of the stick from a lot of Leeds fans for obviously what happened with with other things. So I think that hopefully will because he was on the Kosh as well, and he proper hates Blackwell, doesn't
he? Yeah. But I mean that some of the stuff that I listened to during his podcast on there, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of some of the stuff he was spurting out. So bloody, I even more so now. I think he's had it quite rough. To be fair to him,
Adam was just telling me I'd not had an opportunity to listen to Dubry's actually, but my perception of it, or everything that went on, obviously it was a right shitstorm anyway, but my perception was totally the opposite to what Dubry had said. And for him to come out and be so, brash and honest about it, I think shocked me a little bit. I was like, I can't actually believe that the other lads would do it to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe his fucking teammates. Like,
I mean, it's some position that to be put in.
Not nice.
Do you know what I mean? Nice. So I think it was a lose-lose for him, to be fair.
Yeah, I do feel for the guy. Definitely. Absolute shit situation to put somebody in like that. To be fair. What about your debut? Then, how did it feel for the first time to coming out and playing? Was it away your debut? Was it at Charlton? Did we beat them about 6-1 or something like that?
6-1. Yeah. Did you come on for Smithy?
Harry Kuehl. Harry Kuehl.
Good.
Yeah.
No, we can't talk bad about him.
Is that because he went to Liverpool that everybody?
No, it's the Galatasaray thing, I believe.
Went to Galatasaray.
Oh, bloody hell, of course. Yeah, what am I about? Yeah.
No, we're not that bothered about Liverpool, really. I don't suppose as Leeds fans. We both hate the scum, don't we? So.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, how did it feel coming? Obviously, that was your actual debut. So how did it feel actually representing the first team? And then how was the home game when you first came out at Ellen Road? Yeah,
I mean, it's again looking back now, it's so weird because I never ever thought that wouldn't happen for me, and that might come across really big-headed. I don't know, but I just think I had no idea of how lucky you actually have to be to hit that. But I was always quite confident, and at the time I was doing really well in the resis, really pushing, and so I thought in the back of my head it's only a matter of time now. But then when the day actually comes, Jesus, it's mixed emotions because you're shitting yourself because it's a totally new level that you've never experienced before. But at the same time, you're overjoyed because you actually play Premier League football. So it's catch-22, really. But it was a no-pressure situation for me because, like you say, it was 6-1 up. So it was a case of just go and enjoy yourself. And I was just desperate to try and get on the score sheet.
Yeah. How did you play? Can you remember? Yeah, it was only 10 minutes or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's only 10 minutes or so. I think there was just one. I mean, the main thing that sticks out out for me was bloody Richard Rufus giving me a dig in my ribs as soon as I come on. But I think there was one opportunity where I think he might have been for the 6th goal. Was on the pitch, or there was an opportunity where I could have got slipped in a nice easy little through ball, little triangle on FIFA. But no, it didn't come. But yeah, I can't remember too much about it in all honesty.
So how old were you been then?
I was 19 then. I was 19. Yeah. But I mean, it was strange because I started training with the first team when I was 16, like a young 16-year-old as well. And obviously, when you see the way the club was being run at that time, there was a lot of youngsters. So I just thought the natural progression for me, even though I was 16, was to get an opportunity with the first team. But then I think I had an injury. I had a medial ligament injury, and I was out for like six months. And I come back after that, and I couldn't find any form whatsoever. I was trying everything, couldn't do anything. And then, luckily enough, I come back, and I think I had a couple of good seasons, which then, projected me into the first team setup.
Wicked. So did you ever feel how did in your sort of, I know you obviously got a lot of love for Leeds United, but do you ever feel that we've sort of held you back at all? Because you only made 11 first team appearances in those 5 years you were at the club, and I know you were on loan quite a lot at that time as well. Sorry, I say when you were at the club, but from 2000 when you were a professional. Do you ever think they maybe held you back or didn't give you enough opportunity or anything like that? Or was there a particular manager even that you felt that probably could have given you more of a chance?
Well, obviously Blackie could have, but I'll move on to that. I mean, again, I was really young and there was loads of youngsters about. I think just at the time, it had nothing to do with anybody. It was just the fact that there was so many young players already in that squad. There wasn't room for anybody else really, unless you was exceptional. And look, I've done really well, hence why I got to train with the first team when I was 16. I had a really strong start, but there just weren't room for me then. And then obviously when I pick up that injury and come back, and I'm struggling to find form, all the previous work has forgotten about, and it's sort of like it's sort of a rebuilding process now. And in the meantime, there's other players that are starting to hit good levels that have sort of bypassed you a little bit while you're out injured, and there's nothing I could do about that. It was just that's. But I would say I dug in, and there was 2 or 3 occasions I could have left before I made my debut. So I look back, and I'm quite happy with what I achieved there.
Good. And go on,
sorry, mate. Did it? So obviously you played for a fair few managers. We've alluded to that already, but do you think having a management team change as sort of frequently as we had during your period at Leeds, and they obviously bring in coaching staff and they've all got their different ideas of football. If under all the managers that you were working under while at Leeds, was there one manager that sort of stood out for the style of football that you would have sort of excelled in, and one that you'd have thought, this guy's not for me?
The one that I would have liked to have played, I would have liked to have played in the David O'Leary era, because of the quality of player that was there. And look, I don't mean go in and be a first team regular. I just mean I feel like my toe could have been dipped in at that point, like Lenny's was and like Milner's was. Look, without blowing my own trumpet, neither of those 2 guys surpassed the level I was playing at 16 in the reserves, in my opinion. Bloody hell, gloating hell. No, I'm not.
Don't worry about it, mate.
This is my honest opinion. I started off like house on fire, I really did, and that's why after the third reserve match, they got me in training with the first team. That don't happen for no reason. So probably I would have liked to have had my toe dipped in that O'Leary era. and I knew with Blackie it was never gonna happen. I tried to ride it out, but it was just never ever gonna happen.
You were up against some stiff competition, though. In fairness, in those O'Leary days, when you'd have the Dukes, Smith, Fowler, Keane.
Yeah.
Bridges.
So yeah, Bridges.
So Bridgie, Bridgie. It was ridiculous. And do you know what? Again, and I talk freely about this now, but at the time, because I was training and I could see what they could do from what they couldn't do. There was all unreal players, and I know and appreciate that. But again, I always had confidence in my ability, and I never thought I was better than them, but I always thought I can get to that level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always thought that. Yeah.
You, in my opinion, you were probably already above Huckabee anyway. So.
Oh bloody yeah! I forgot about Huckabee as well.
Yeah, we all do because he was shit.
Who was the quickest that you played with up there? Anybody was absolutely stupid fast?
Lenny was ridiculous.
Yeah.
As Lennon was ridiculously quick, and him and do you remember Jermaine Pennant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was them two. To be fair, that was the quickest at that club. I'm trying to think if there was anybody lightning quick in the earlier days. I don't think there was. To be fair,
No, but
Harry Cool had a bit of pace, but you weren't. McPhail.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a slug, wasn't it?
Oh, he could play.
Yeah, he couldn't have good feet, didn't
he?
Yeah.
Brilliant player.
So it was like, obviously you've been around it. You've obviously been on dues work, stag dues with the lads probably, and Christmas dues and that. Who was most likely out of your lot to either get locked up or end up somewhere that they shouldn't, like the Hangover or something?
Well, I've got to be careful because I don't want to incriminate myself or anybody else. It was in the weren't it in the Yorkshire Evening Post when we all dressed up in army gear and Robbie Fowler was in
a taxi, wasn't it?
Taxi, yeah.
That's it.
It was him and somebody else. I mean, that night was just ridiculously wild. Why we went out in Leeds, I'll never know. But who was it?
I remember. Do you know what? I remember delivering the newspapers as a kid and seeing that and thinking, "This is it. This is what I want to do." I just want to play football and get pissed and not do this paper round anymore. It's doing me back in.
It was just outrageous. I'm sure David Batty tricked me into drinking piss that night, man. Honestly, he had this like, because we were all dressed in army gear, he had this bottle, but it was like an army bottle of some sort. And he kept calling me and who was it? Somebody else over. And he kept going, taste some of that. I was like, I'm all right, I've got my own drink. I don't want to. Just taste it, you'll love it. So after about fucking 10 times of asking, but bearing in mind, he wouldn't touch it. I'd not see him have a drink of it. But obviously, I think this was a bit later on, so we had a taste of it, and I'm sure it was pissed with fucking pina colada or something. I don't know. Unbelievable.
Brilliant. Did so you did? But obviously, going back to, I know we've sort of moved on a little bit, but going back to the start, you had you featured for England, didn't you, as well? Was it under 20s?
Yeah, right. I played for England from 15s to 20s. There was a bit of I dropped out of the setup for a year. I went away once and I didn't behave badly, but I could have behaved better. And I don't think Les Reed was the guy in charge at the time. I just don't think he appreciated the way I handled myself on a certain trip, and I didn't get called back for another year, which I was distraught a little bit. But you live and you learn, don't you? But I played for them up to 20, so it was obviously a great experience for me.
Is Les Reed the lad? He's at Southampton as well, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah, in some capacity. I'm not sure what he does there. He was the manager there at one point, I think.
Yeah, I think is he head
Yeah.
of youth development or something down there?
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's been around the block. Les Reed now. But do you know what? He was an all right bloke. I got on all right with him. Raku. I actually remember clear as day when I got called back for, I think it was an under-20 tournament for the first time in a year. I shook his hand and I says, "Look, I've grew up a bit now," and he just smiled like and gave me a wink. So that was enough for me.
Good. So I just want to touch upon now your social media and things that you tweet about now, if that's all right. You don't have to answer any of these questions. If
no, I'll answer anything, mate.
So for the first one is, I'd love to know the full story based on how much you hate Blackwell, how that car journey was all the way down to Portsmouth and back.
Oh fuck, mate. Honestly,
How did it happen?
Because I was on loan at Sunderland at the time, and I'm not sure what happened. I think there was a few. I think there was few injuries, and we was playing Portsmouth away in the cup, and a few lads had gone down injured. I think it was Danny Pugh had gone down, and a few others. So I was out on loan. A lad called Martin Woods was out on loan, and Jamie Winter, a lad called Jamie Winter, Scottish boy, was out on loan. 2 Scottish boys actually, and he called us all back. He called us all back.
Aberdeen as well.
Say it again, sorry.
What? So Winter, because was Winter at Aberdeen or something?
That's him. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He got him back from there.
No, he weren't on. I don't think he was on loan at Aberdeen at that time. I think he played for Aberdeen after he left Leeds. So, yeah. But I went into training at Sunderland. I was happy as Larry, to be honest, because Kev Blackwell's at Leeds and I don't want to be there because of him. And I went into training and Mick McCarthy just called me in and said, "You've been called back, Jono." He says, "I wanted you to stay. You know that there's nothing I can do." But this, I think, we must have stayed over. So it was the day before the game, but the coach had already gone, so we had no way of getting there. So he had to wait for us and take us down.
Nightmare.
Oh, mate, honestly, just imagine your fucking worst nightmare and times it by 10 and you'll get how bad it was. Horrendous,
Jesus.
mate.
Did you let you stop for piss?
Say it again.
Go on, Adam.
Who sat in the front? Did you have to sit in
Mate,
the front?
yeah, I had to sit in the front, yeah. Do you know what? The 2 lads was clever. The 2 other lads, and one of them who seen my tweet messaged me the other day, actually, telling me that he ran straight to the back door. Oh, dear. It's normally the other way around, isn't it? First one in the front line.
Yeah. There's nobody want to sit next to him.
With a paying seat. Fuck that.
What was McCarthy like when he managed you? I can imagine he's quite a nice fella, me, from what I see of him on, like, when he's talking on Match of the Day or whatever he's on after games and stuff. Comes across really, really well. As much as like he's a bit daft and that gift gets me still every time when it makes him jump and he's not seeing anything. He goes,
yeah. Oh, well, yeah. No, Mick McCarthy was. I worked with some great people in football, but he was definitely one of my favourites, if not the. And I only spent 6 weeks with him as well because they got called back early. But it's now I'm sort of in a coaching role myself, and I've got more of an understanding of what it takes to get the best out of your group. He was brilliant because for me, man management's something that you really have to prioritise. Do you know what I mean? And I think he had that down to a T. I don't think Roy Keane will agree with me, but no, I thought he was brilliant with his man management skills, and it's really important.
I don't know if that's where you want to sort of maybe allude and progress on what you said earlier about you scoring yourself on teamwork. Is that why you think probably you score yourself quite highly?
No, because it's just because of I don't want to give too much information away because I don't know who's going to see this of opponents. But no, I think I like to play now with a striker that's got quite a bit of pace that will run the channels. Now, when I think back to how I used to play, there was a certain point when Roy Atkins said to me, Jono, I do not want you to come into feet for the ball. He says, I just want you spinning in behind. And to do that every single time your team has the ball, it's a nightmare. But it does so much for the team because the opposition defence have no option but to deepen. Otherwise, if they leave that space in behind, I'm going to get in. And it's really difficult to do. So at the time, I feel like I felt like a bit of a dickhead sometimes, but I didn't understand what I was actually doing for the team, and it was really, really tough. There would be days in training where I would literally, sometimes when the other lads was doing something different, I would literally just do a arcing run into a channel, walk back, arcing run into the other channel, walk back. And I'd just be doing that for about half an hour with very little rest in between. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was tough, but now I'm a little bit older and my understanding's a bit better. I'll get what they was trying to achieve with that.
Yeah. So you say Mick's your most favourite manager that you played under, or would you say is the best?
Probably both. Probably both. Very close. A guy called Dave Hodgson at Darlington as well, and Eddie Gray. I can't split them three, to be fair. I can't split them three. Yeah. But yeah, Mick McCarthy was. He was. Do you know what? Even under David O'Leary, we never really went through tactics. It was more a case of, I know I've got good players. I'm just going to trust you to go out onto the pitch and do what you do. If we're struggling, I expect you to be able to work it out. Whereas Mick McCarthy was a little bit more detailed than other managers that I've worked with. So he was good.
How do you think you'd have got on under Bielsa?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think if he was the manager when I was there, I think I would have done well.
I think so.
I think I would have done a lot better than I did.
In terms of your career, or just in terms of what you learned?
At Leeds, both at Leeds and because you can tell that. Look, I think it's not common because everybody's got. I just think the level of detail he works at is outrageous.
Yeah,
it's outrageous because I don't think people actually appreciate how much time and effort goes into that.
He's obsessed, isn't he? He's obsessed. Yeah, he's literally.
Yeah,
it's almost like a special need, pretty much. He just cannot stop thinking about football, can he?
Yeah, and honestly, it takes hours upon hours, like to get to where he's got. You know, it's just hours and hours of research, reading. Do you know what I mean? Thinking. It's a long process, man.
Mental.
Is it safe to say then, O'Leary, had the players and just expected the players to produce a moment of madness? Are we now saying Lampard is this generation's O'Leary when it comes to just spunking money and hoping for the best?
Well, do you know what? I think when I looked at Lampard's signing, yeah.
Yeah. Short answer, yeah.
Yeah, because he just got. I think he just got a little bit reckless. I think we made signings that didn't really need to be made. Do you know what I mean?
Seth Johnson.
Yeah, Seth. Do you know what? He's a weird one for me. And I think I might have mentioned Seth on my thoughts on Seth on Under the Cosh. He could play, and do you know what? He had actually, tell a lie, Dakar was similar, but he had something that other players didn't have. He had a nasty streak. He could play football. He could get a goal, but he just never. I don't think he ever had a proper run in the team. He was always fucking injured or. Do you know
It's on
what I
40
mean?
grand a week, wasn't it? You didn't need to work.
That's it. I think that's what I said that on undercut. I think that the contract what he signed at Leeds absolutely destroyed him
Yeah.
because I think his enthusiasm just fucking waned by the day. It was just getting worse and worse, and that combined with his injury, it was just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Adam, do you want to start slowing down the thing and have a look how Simon's got on in terms of his career?
Oh, I don't know. Where do you reckon you're at, Si?
And
Do you know what? I've had a few people message me about this game, and sometimes I go over to Italy. I think.
I remember playing it back in the day, and I'm sure you were like this absolute wonder kid, and you went out on loan a couple of seasons when I was at Leeds, and then somebody put a stupid bid in for you, and I sold you.
Got rid of it. I'll take the money. I'll take the money.
All right, we've done
Signed
the
Matty
first.
Stewart or something. Go on then. Let's have a look. Just while Adam's doing that, Simon, the other thing I wanted to ask you about your Twitter, some of it's got to be for bites when you've had a few beers on an evening, hasn't it? You know, with
massively.
Yeah,
massively,
I just thought I would just get you through the evening through lockdown, like
massively. But do you know what I love? Well, but my family will, but not many people know when I'm being serious or fucking about. So
yeah,
do you know what I mean? I think sometimes people are a bit wary about commenting back and stuff like that.
The amount of people that commented the other night say it's been postponed.
No, that weren't a mistake. That weren't
Oh,
a mistake.
it?
Do you know what? I was looking at the fixtures and I've just seen. I don't like the way. I don't know if you've got the Sky Sports Centre app.
Yeah.
But they've changed the layout of it now. So I just seen the game and for some reason it didn't click that it had been postponed. Like
use SofaScore. SofaScore. That's the best app, honestly.
Decent, is it?
Yeah.
I'll have a look at that.
We don't really get on with Sky a lot, so we other apps are available. Go on then, Adam. Let's see how's he going. Where's he playing? Is he still at Leeds?
Still at Leeds.
What season? How old is he?
We've only done one season,
Right.
so you're now 19. We've seen some improvements in the stats. I'm not going to go into too much detail here.
Okay.
You made a couple of appearances for the first team. We've been banging him in Resi, so we're making progress. We'll be all right. We'll come back in 10 minutes. See where we're at.
Yeah,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
So I suppose I've only a couple more bits really to ask. I don't know if Adam's got anything planned that you specifically wanted to ask. The only bits I'd like to know is do you still stay in touch with anybody from Leeds or back in those days? Is there anybody in particular that you've made real good friends with and still friends with to this day?
I still speak to a few of the lads that was in the academy with me. Like I'll speak to Killer now and again. Martin Woods, who was another young boy, a couple of years younger than me. A lad called Chris Kamara, who's hopefully going to be best man at my wedding. He was a great bloke.
Congratulations.
Cheers, bud. Dewberry I speak to. I'm hoping that Dewberry will come down and do a bit of work with the lads at the academy and just pass on his knowledge. It'll be great for them. So, I'll tell you what, I've got a contact for, do you remember Lee Matthews?
I do.
I remember the name.
Went to Bristol City, didn't he?
That's right, yeah, because I'm due to speak to him in the next couple of days. I'll try and keep in touch with the boys, but it's more just messages on Facebook and that really, you know.
Yeah. So most of your time sort of an effort's going into the academy then now. You don't suppose you have time now to go out with the lads and well, nobody does. We're not allowed, but yeah.
You know what?
Go on, sorry.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, in terms of the academy structure, do you play other academies then? Is there other ex-professionals that have got their own academies that you play against, I suppose?
Yeah, we in our league, the one that's got an independent academy like myself is Gordon Strachan. So,
all right.
Gordon Strachan's got his own academy based in Rugby, I think it is. That's in West Midlands. So we're always up against him, and I've been for the last 3 or 4 years now. So
who's the best?
Well, they absolutely give us a good hiding last season. The season before was even Stevens, but we're pretty handy this year, so we're top of the league. Yeah, we get them 4-0. We get them 4-0. We went up there earlier on in the season, so but the boys are pretty strong this year. Yeah.
So what is it? So what do you? It's obviously from back when you first started to now, the game's changed massively. So what do you think is the most important sort of attribute now for a young kid coming through? So if you could talk to a 16-year-old Simon Johnson, what attribute would you want him to work on and be his strongest? Would it be the mental side of it? You know, do you think that this lockdown and kids not being able to play as much as they'd want to in academy football and just football in general, do you think we can have a generation now of mentally stronger footballers who can potentially break that chain of England? You know, do you know what I mean? England bottling it. You know, do you think we're going to be mentally stronger? Kids are going to be stronger and deal with knockbacks in their careers better, or how do you see it going there?
To be honest, I'm going to have to sit on the fence. I wouldn't like to say. I mean, I'd be hopeful that you know, they'll come out the other side a lot stronger for it. Only time will tell that, but you just never know, do you? You just never know. It's yeah, that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one for me to answer, to be fair, because I've started not struggling, but this lockdown 3's for me has been a lot harder.
I agree, yeah, completely.
Yeah, you know, it's been a lot harder, but I have noticed within my group that these guys at the younger generation have found it really difficult as well. So, you know, is it going to have a long-term impact on them? Do you know what I mean? Only time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose last thing, moving on to the next game, Leeds. How do you see us doing? We obviously pumped them 5-2. Do you see it happening again? How do you see us faring in the next game away at Newcastle? Is it away? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's away. Yeah,
it is away. Yeah. Tuesday night. I think.
Do you know what? I think Newcastle are struggling. They ain't got much goals. I think
they're wasting Callum Wilson though. They're absolutely wasting him because he's class.
Yeah, he's a good player. Excuse me, that's just a normal cough, by the way.
Get your mask on.
Yeah. You know, we could do with him at Leeds, to be fair. But
100%.
No, I don't think we'll have any trouble going up there. Sometimes I think I'm too optimistic, but I think that the layoff what the lads will have had will do them a massive world of good, and I think they'll be coming back. Obviously, on the back of a couple of not so great results, I think they'll come back firing. To be fair, just needed a little bit of a rest, bit of a freshen up, and they'll
smashing. Great.
Is there any one player in that Leeds squad now that you think is the main man? Obviously, everyone thinks Calvin's the sort of Calvin is he is the main man. But is there anybody that you look at and think this guy is?
Leeds would struggle without him, sort of thing.
I don't. You know, I don't. I love Bamford. I love Bamford. But I don't. I see Leeds now. I don't look at any individual and think, wow. I think as a unit, I think that it's a special thing they've got going on.
Yeah.
But that's obviously down to the management team. I don't think we've got bar Calvin Phillips. I don't think we've got any special individuals. I just think they work really well, and I think sometimes that's what the Leeds fans have got to try and understand, that we haven't got, in terms of ability level, we haven't got a squad that should be competing top end of the table, really.
No. It's the same 7 of that 11 was getting beat last year at Millwall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's that's why I'll try and defend them as much as I can, because you know the fans are the most important. Whether fans believe it or not, the fans are the most important people to the players, and they only want to do good for the fans. Do you know what I mean? So they need to stick by him. Need to stick by him.
Wicked. Yeah, I fully agree. I think what you say. We don't have a we're useful as a unit. We're not useful.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have any players that are going to be sold for 50 million next week. Bar Calvin, who could be, and everyone else is probably worth 5-10 million quid. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
And I think for me, and I think you're quite right what you said. The pivot is Marcelo Bielsa. He makes that team tick, and without him, I think we'd really struggle. I think we'd be down there with West Brom and the others. So yeah, I think like you said, the management team should be taking a lot of the credit for that squad.
100%.
Yeah.
So I've got one final question for you, Si.
Yeah, that's no problem, bud.
West Brom Leeds FA Cup final. Where's your money? Where's your loyalty?
You must know. I can't answer that question.
What's your wearing, bruv?
You must know I can't answer that.
A draw and then called off it. Split the cup in half.
I couldn't do it. The amount of people that have asked me, but I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Fair point. Brilliant. Are you still with us? Just about. I think his internet sorted itself out. He'll catch up in a sec.
Yeah.
Are you back with us, Adam? Right. Do you want to just fly through the figures before we close, and just let Simon know how good he would have been in 2 seasons under you.
Right. So, Si, you said start of 18-year-old Simon Johnson. You said pace 17. Champ manager said 13.
Really? Cheeky bastards.
Finishing, you said 15. Champ manager went 12.
Oh, this is harsh. This is.
It's not bad start. These are starting stats. It's not too bad. And you got
technique. Si went 19. Champ manager said 18. So we'll go.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
We'll go well. This is the big one. Teamwork. Simon Johnson said 20. Champ manager 17.
Oh, that's not bad. Starting stats.
Same wavelength.
Yeah.
Heading. Simon Johnson said 8. Champ manager said 8.
Really?
On the board, yeah. What about the ending stats then? How did he end up after your second season with him under your leadership?
Under my tutelage, right? I'm going to go and have a look now. So bear with me 2 secs.
Yeah, all right. Just really quickly while he's doing that, Simon, we always ask all of our guests who they would prefer to be managed by, either the legend that is David Hockaday or our next game, the manager of the next team that we face, who is Steve Bruce. Who would you rather be tutelage by? Would it be David Hockaday or Steve Bruce?
Yeah, Steve Bruce. But
I think Adam, I think there was only me and you actually that said that, just because he was scum, didn't we? Me and you both said, it'll be Steve Bruce, definitely. Just for that one video where he says, "How's the bacon? Did you say?" Have you seen that, Simon? I'll tweet you in it. And basically, one of the reporters said, "How's the break been then, Steve?" And he goes, "How's the bacon? Did you say?" He's talking on about bacon, the mad bastard.
Is that that's not recent, is it?
I think it's only a year or two old. Yeah,
a year or two.
I'll copy you in the tweet in a bit.
Yeah. So we're midway through. So I'm going to keep this going, and I'll tweet you on this side as well. I'm going to keep your career going on my laptop for the rest of my life.
For the rest of your life.
Your pace is now up to 15, so you're getting closer to your 17 mark. Finishing still 12. Technique is up there, still 17. Teamwork is still up there. Heading still needs work.
Still needs some work. Get him on the training pitch. Get him on the training pitch, Adam.
That's it. And you're still playing resis. 3 appearances in resis, 3 goals, 3 assists, 3 man of the match. There you are.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
I'll keep this going.
Listen, Simon, thank you ever so much for joining Adam and myself. We really appreciate it.
Cheers,
and all of your bits
all.
and pieces, all your apps and links and things will be included on on the YouTube channel and the other socials and things that we use. We'll get it all tweeted out for you. We're hoping to get this out. I think by the time this goes out, it'll probably be over the weekend because we don't have a game. Get SofaScore, and you'll know that, Simon. But yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks ever so much for coming on. Look forward to seeing how the academy grows and continues under yourself as well.
No problem at all, lads. Really enjoyed that. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers, mate.
No,
Thank you.
Keep in touch, pal.
Take it easy, lads.
Cheers.
Bye, pal.
Ciao.